Welcome once again to the Tim and Phil Talk About Games podcast. This time it's just Tim with a mini review today before our next regular episode this coming week. We have a couple of big announcements to make that Phil and I are very excited about, so keep an eye or an ear out for that soon. For this episode, we are not so much looking at a game as we are at a mod of a game. This is an unofficial mod for the already amazing game XCOM Enemy Unknown, which came out in 2012. XCOM is, of course, the long-awaited sequel/remake of the 1994 DOS game, alternatively called UFO Enemy Unknown, or XCOM UFO Defense, depending on where you lived. Now, 18 years may just be one of the longest gaps between sequels in gaming history, and between the almost mythic quality of the original game and the godlike powers of gaming nostalgia, the new XCOM had impossibly large shoes to fill. As such, it was a testament to Firaxis Games that XCOM Enemy Unknown ended up surpassing expectations to become a critical and cultural success, delivering on the promises of a modern game with the atmosphere of the original. It is this atmosphere that the Long War mod was built to capitalize on, and spoiler alert, it succeeds. While XCOM is technically a turn-based isometric strategy shooter, unlike other games in the genre, it relies on a creepy, almost horror movie theme, where every shadow and every blind corner holds the promise of doom for you and your squad of international alien hunters. The premise of the game is that aliens have invaded the Earth, and a secret coalition of governments have put together the XCOM project, mankind's only defense against the extraterrestrial threat. One of the things that makes the original XCOM so engaging is the relationship you form with your team of soldiers. You hire new rookies at the barracks, equip them with weapons and utilities that they might need on a mission, and then send them out to respond to the alien abductions, extraterrestrial terror attacks, and crashed UFOs that you have managed to shoot down. However, if one of your soldiers die, that loss is permanent, and you will have to replace them with a fresh rookie from the barracks after every mission. Every soldier has a name, and a progression that follows their achievements in battle, even unlocking a call sign with enough experience. While all of these parameters are fully customizable, and you can technically feel the team of your family or friends, right down to basic face customization, there is something really engaging about following the story of your randomly generated soldiers. After half a dozen missions, they start to develop a personality, and the occasional cinematic camera angles help to highlight the moments in their story. This personalization of the characters makes losing one of them a tragic, often heartbreaking affair, and with the Long War mod, this is going to happen a lot. The Long War mod does exactly what it says on the tin, making the campaigns slower, longer, and much, much harder. The mod itself is highly tweakable, giving you the ability to tweak the difficulty to your liking, although I cannot stress enough that even if you're an experienced XCOM player, you are going to want to try it on normal first. The mod makes the game far more tactical, increasing your team size to a whopping 8 units in some missions, adding an entirely new leveling progression tree, and giving you access to dozens of new items, weapons, and technologies to use against the invading aliens. To compensate for this, however, the alien AI is now far more intelligent, making more sensible choices and fewer mistakes. The aliens now have a plan in the overworld phase, making your choices more meaningful, especially if you choose wrong. Individual engagements are longer as well, with some levels having more aliens than you can reasonably attempt to defeat, making tactical retreats a serious option if you don't want to lose your level 8 sniper. These sometimes unfair odds can even make ignoring some missions a viable option, forcing you to pick your battles wisely. Making the game slower and longer also gives you more time to bond with a wider variety of XCOM soldiers. In the vanilla game, I found myself getting attached to just a handful of characters, but in the Long War, I can look at my roster of nearly 50 soldiers and recall dozens of close calls, lost comrades, and even a couple of comical moments facilitated by the random number generator going a little bit screwy. If you've already dropped some serious time into XCOM, the Long War mod is something you should definitely check out, breathing a whole new life into the game. Having put some solid time into the vanilla game myself, it's worth noting that with the Long War mod, Steam is telling me I've already sunk a further 155 hours into a single playthrough, and I haven't even unlocked beam weapons yet. The game is long, I cannot stress this enough, but it doesn't mean that it's tedious or boring. In fact, I am possibly enjoying the Long War mod more than I did the original game, and that is really saying something. You can grab the Long War mod from www.nexusmods.com, that is NEXUSMODS, or you can grab it through a quick Google search. And to be honest, the installation process is relatively painless for such a comprehensive mod. Though, as always with these things, caveat emptor, your mileage may vary, etc, etc, etc. As usual, you can find Tim and Phil Talk About Games at www.timandphil.com, on facebook.com/timandphil, or you can always follow us on Twitter at ToothSoup and at Dungeon Master. Thanks for listening, and happy gaming.